Welcome everybody to the Fourth Wall Wrestling Podcast. I'm Will. I'm here alone today. Brandon has something going on at his church. No Adam as well, so I'm going to do this alone. I had issues with my camera this morning, so we improvise, adapt, and overcome. This is going to be an audio review only. Welcome to the show, guys. Today we have your Smackdown and Rampage review from January 13th or 14th, 2022. Let's see. There's no news today, so I'm going to kind of start off and go on for a little bit about something that really bothered me on last night's show. You watch the flow of the show, right? And kind of, you open with something you don't really care about because the tag team division was dead. Like that fatal four-way, although it was good, I don't really care about it. And there was something about it that felt off to me. Like, none of those teams deserve a shot except for the team who won. So, really, you're looking at a two-team race. Then you move on throughout the show. You have WWE officials complaining about the temperature, which led to virtually nothing. It led to Sonya Deville taking her jacket off so Naomi could tease a fight with her, and then it never happened. You got one of the worst segments I've ever watched with Sami Zayn trying to be like Johnny Knoxville. You got Aliyah beating a bona fide legend in Natalya, which absolutely pissed me off, and I'll explain why I absolutely despise Aliyah. Now that she's getting booked on TV, you'll hear me talk about her a lot more. Maybe she can prove me wrong. I don't know. You have Lita returning to SmackDown. While that's cool, like the thumbnail of this video says, I have to ask, why? Why did we need Lita on this show? You have probably my favorite thing on this show was the Ricochet and Sheamus match. And even in that, it's marred with controversy because they changed Ricochet's theme, which is enough to piss me off as well. You got Madcap Moss versus Kofi Kingston, and it was decent for what it was, but you have Kofi losing clean to Madcap Moss. And then you have the face-off in the main event, which, for what it was, like I said, it was good. But really, what are we accomplishing with that? It had its good lines, but Roman Reigns saying that he'd rather face his wife than Seth Rollins really kind of buries Seth Rollins. And I'm not saying buried as in like the normal meaning of buried, but it kind of like it shut down all credibility he had in that segment, and I don't think that's what they need to do. So overall, and I've heard a lot of different takes on SmackDown, but all in all, this was the worst wrestling show of the year. And I have a lot to say about it, and that's just the surface. And you got Rampage. I mean, this was one of the better Rampages that they've had. They had two very, very good wrestling matches in Adam Cole and Trent Beretta. You had that main event tag team match, was a fantastic tag team match. You had a good commentary segment with Ricky Starks and Jay Lethal that I enjoyed. I like that they're actually doing something with Shawn Spears, like making him look strong. That promo he cut was very good. And there's some other stuff like that look at Thunder Rosa and Mercedes Martinez. We got a Men of the Year promo, that Max Caster video, music video that I actually liked that, but it was just filler. And then that 6-woman tag team match was all right, but it was filler. So you got a very good Rampage show, all in all. But guys, we're gonna cover all of this right here on the podcast. Thank you guys for joining me today on your Saturday afternoon. This might be kind of quick because a lot of the time we usually spend is going back and forth between me and Brandon or me and Adam, and neither of them are here today. So we don't have any news. Well, we have news, but I'm not covering it today. We'll cover it tomorrow on Breaking the Wall. Smackdown started with the Usos, and now while I get what they were trying to do here, I really don't know what they want the fans to say about this. Like, you have 4 tag teams. Some of them I didn't even know, or like Cesaro and Mansoor, I didn't even know was a tag team. Viking Raiders, of course, they deserve to win that match, and they did. Shanky and Jinder Mahal are not credible, and Los Lotharios, while they are a credible team, you're not doing a heel versus heel, especially with the way the Usos are right now, which I'll get into my next point. So the Usos open the show. Jay says last week they went to war with the New Day and beat them, but they respect them because they're the only team that pushed them hard. Jimmy says they let everybody know who runs the show, who the Bloodline is, who the best tag team is, and that they are the ones. Jay says the grind doesn't stop, and although they should be celebrating or helping the Tribal Chief in his face-to-face tonight, Jimmy says it doesn't matter because management is already lining them up, like lining the teams up, and they will knock them down. Jay says there will be a fatal four-way to discover the new challengers. Jimmy and Jay introduce Los Lotharios, Cesaro and Mansoor, Jinder Mahal and Shanky, and the Viking Raiders. And then what I liked about this segment was they had Jay put the mic under the shoulder of Jimmy, and then Jimmy went over the rules like he was a boxing referee. He ran over the rules, and he was like, and the most important thing, we are the ones. And that was good about the segment. Then they super kicked a couple members of the match. I didn't catch which ones they were, and a massive brawl broke out before the match started. And we went to commercial break. Guys, don't get me wrong. Jimmy and Jay are very entertaining on the mic. That segment was very entertaining, I will say. They add a lot to the show when they're just out there talking on the mic. They're very good at that. But here's the thing. Why should I care about this? What is the reason why I should care about this when 3 out of the 4 teams in this match don't deserve anything, and the one who does has been booked into oblivion over the past 2 years? You guys get where I'm coming from? What is there to care about exactly? Who the Usos are going to beat next? Because now I'll get into that point after this, but I think Eric and Ivar might have been set up for success. Now, I don't think the Usos will take the titles off of them, or they'll take the titles off of the Usos, but you have to look at the division in a standpoint. What other face tag teams are there? And I'll get into that in a minute. But I really don't know why I should care about this. Fatal 4-way tag team match. I already read that. Mansoor hits an atomic, or actually I think it was a trio of atomic drops on Angel. He tags in Cesaro. And I caught this on commentary. Pat McAfee said, which of these teams did you know were teams before the night? Or something along that line. Which of these teams look like teams that have been teams before tonight? And the one team that wasn't a team, or that I didn't know was a team before tonight, is Mansoor and Cesaro. And that's who Jimmy Uso says. I just thought that was funny, that the one team that hasn't been a team is the one that gets mentioned as the one they knew were a team. Or I think the question meant which of these teams actually looks like a team, like they had that chemistry. But the one team that wasn't a team until recently is the one that has the most chemistry. I find that really interesting. Eric tags in and shoves Cesaro. Shanky tags in and works over Eric before tagging in Jinder, who goes to work on Eric as well. Shanky hits a boot in the corner. He works over Eric more and tags in Jinder. Eric escapes and tags Ivar in as Shanky tags in as well. Ivar knocks Los Lotharios off the apron and dodges Shanky. Eric tags in and they hit double team offense. Eric drops Ivar on Shanky's face. Like that little hip attack type thing in the corner. Ivar heads up, or he tags in Ivar. Ivar heads up top and Jinder throws Eric out of the ring. He heads up top and stuns Eric. Cesaro comes out of nowhere and attempts to double suplex Ivar and Jinder off the top rope. Eric comes in and they hit a avalanche powerbomb superplex combo. That's what I'm calling that. It happened a few times tonight on both shows, so that's what we're going to call it today. Go to commercial break. Out of the break, Angel catches Mansoor and prevents a tag. He is able to get one. And Cesaro goes on hot tag offense. Let me just say, Cesaro has one of the best hot tag offenses in the industry. And we've all seen that video. He hits mounted punches and knocks Garza off. He hits a Samoan drop and knocks Eric off. Ivar tags in and Cesaro looks for the swing. He can't get it, and Jinder gets in the ring, hitting the Colossus to Cesaro. Now, I had lost track if Jinder was legal or not, and I thought that would be it, but apparently he wasn't legal. Mansoor takes him out, and Shanky takes Mansoor down. Eric takes Shanky out, and Los Lotharios hits double super kicks, followed by double dives over the top rope. Ivar goes for a dive, but Los Lotharios hits double drop kicks. The Raiders fight back and hit the Viking Experience for the win. After the match, the Usos get on the mics and congratulate them, telling that the raid was a success. And I missed the last line, but something along the lines of, when you get in the ring with us, you won't beat us. So, now don't get me wrong, guys. I love tag team wrestling. This was a very good tag team fatal 4-way match. I really didn't expect much more than this. I can't say I expected this, but I can't say I expected much more. It was very good. I don't see many people trying to tell you it wasn't a good match. But like I said, I just don't care about it. Now here's an interesting thing that if Brandon was here, I'm interested to see his opinion, but how many face tag teams are there on SmackDown? Cesaro and Mansoor. The New Day, who will be out for 6 to 8 weeks because Woods is out. We'll talk about that on Breaking the Wall tomorrow. But what other tag teams are there that are faces besides Cesaro and Mansoor, the Viking Raiders, and around WrestleMania season, the New Day, who are not able to challenge for the titles, I don't believe. So and they mentioned the length of the reign on commentary last night. So what would that tell you? That, in other cases, it'd be time to take the titles off. I don't think that's the right decision. But, it's running very dry for the Usos unless they start building up other tag teams. Now, I could see them going through the Viking Raiders and Cesaro and Mansoor. And hopefully by then, when WrestleMania season comes around, we get a multi-man match. And that way you can have faces and heels in the match because you can build multiple contrasting stories. Right? So, I don't really know how to feel. I do believe in the end the Usos will win, but also don't be surprised if the Viking Raiders take it. And become the new champs. Alright, guys, let's see where we are in my notes. Alright, here we are. Sonya Deville backstage. Naomi walks in and tells her to save it. And everything she says coming out of her mouth is a lie. Toying with her is one thing, but messing with her career is another. She's referring to last week when she messed with Naomi during her Smackdown Women's Championship Contenders match. She goes to fight Sonya, but Sonya says when her jacket is on, she can't touch her. And she says the reason she doesn't like her is because she gives off these main character vibes, but everybody knows that she's just an extra. Deville says if she touches her, she will find her and remove her from the Royal Rumble match. Pierce walks in the room and complains that it's cold. So, two things in this segment. They are threatening to take the Royal Rumble match away from Naomi. Now, there's two ways that I could see this happening. If the plan is for her to win the Rumble, they threaten it. Sonya Deville enters the Rumble and tries to take her out. Naomi gets her revenge, wins the Royal Rumble, and faces Charlotte at WrestleMania. Right? Or, two, they could have Sonya either take the Rumble away from Naomi or eliminate Naomi from the Rumble, and then we get that match at WrestleMania. Now, do I think that is the right decision? No, I think Naomi should win the Rumble. Do I think she will? Last week I would have told you 100% yes, she's winning the Rumble. Nobody else is. She is the only one that I've seen so far that actually looks very good. And that makes sense to win the Rumble. Now, as of Monday, or Tuesday rather, when me and Brandon did the Raw review and we talked about the competitors for the Rumble, that would have changed because I can actually see a lot of people winning the Rumble now. Ooh. Now, after tonight, I could see somebody else that I really don't want to win the Rumble because it's not needed, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But I think Naomi winning the Rumble is the right decision, and you can build to it through Sonya Deville trying to interfere with her. You don't need Sonya Deville and Naomi at WrestleMania. Naomi winning the title at WrestleMania is more fulfilling to her than facing Sonya Deville. So here's how I'd book it. I'd have Naomi win the Royal Rumble. If she thinks she finally got rid of Sonya Deville, and just when she thinks she got rid of Sonya, you have Sonya say, well, you're not going to WrestleMania. And then they have a match at either the Saudi show, which I have news on tomorrow, or, yeah, it'd actually have to be on the Saudi show if they want to do it on a pay-per-view, and you do Sonya versus Naomi, and if Sonya wins, Naomi is removed from the title match at WrestleMania. That way you can get your Sonya and Naomi match, what they're obviously leading to, and you can get Naomi in a match at WrestleMania winning the title. WWE needs to realize there's a way to make multiple payoffs happen, and they don't all have to be at WrestleMania. That is just how I do things. I mean, I want you guys to kind of sound off about it in the comments, because I've heard multiple opinions on it, and honestly, I don't know which one is I don't want to say correct opinion, but the most overwhelming opinion. So guys, just sound off. I want to hear what you have to say. Moving on. Insane with Sami Zayn. Zayn says the conspiracy against him against him, as Sami Zayn would say, has gone on for too long, and it started when he was robbed of the Intercontinental title. He says he is number one contender and is finally poised to gain his title back. He says last week another actor in the conspiracy has joined his life in Johnny Knoxville. The WWE pipes in fake crowd noise, cheering Johnny Knoxville when obviously the crowd is either dead and or booing. He plays the video of what happened last week, saying Knoxville being in the Rumble is great because he is also entered. So Sami Zayn is in the Rumble now. He says Knoxville thinks he can do what Zayn does, but Zayn can actually do everything Knoxville can do. He says tonight he will prove that he is a better jackass than Johnny Knoxville. He says they are doing the first ever Insane. He goes to the back, comes out, and he's being pushed in a shopping cart and says he's going to jump the ring in a shopping cart. Lord, please kill me. Zayn hesitates from doing the jump and gets out of the cart. He says he is 1,000 times better than Knoxville, but he doesn't want to hurt himself. He gets in the ring. Rick Boogs with a fresh cut hops on the apron, and Zayn tells him to tell Nakamura that he is going to take his title back. Then all of a sudden, Shinsuke comes out of nowhere, hits the Kinshasa, and Boogs throws him onto the outside to the landing pad that was there to end the segment. Guys, this segment was utter trash. Why are we having Sami Zayn, one of the better wrestlers in this company, one of the better creative minds in this company, talking about Johnny Knoxville? Is this a legitimate thing? I hope to God they don't do that match at WrestleMania, man. That is one match that'll be used as my piss break. Anyway, this segment was not good. I did not like it, and there was nothing about it that was good. It was an unneeded segment, and it was just there to pass time. Aliyah backstage. She says she's all nerves, and ever since she was a girl, she dreamed of doing this, and she gets to do it against Natalya. Ever since I was a little boy, I was dreaming that you wouldn't debut on Smackdown. I hate Aliyah. She says she hopes she can put on a good showing and not embarrass herself. Well, every time you get in the ring and talk on the mic, you embarrass yourself anyway. Natalya walks in and says there is no shame in losing to her because, after all, she is the winningest woman in WWE history. Natalya rambles on about her career in the Guinness World Records book and says she is the favorite to win the Women's Royal Rumble, and that tonight she will set a fourth record in beating Aliyah in less than 3.18 or 3.8 seconds, something like that Trish Stratus set. Then we get Aliyah versus Natalya. Natalya attacks Aliyah before the bell and throws her around the ring. She beats her down, and the ref says Aliyah can't compete, but she gets up and says the match can go on. And in the same breath as that bell finished ringing, Aliyah rolls her up and gets the 3 count for the fastest match in women's history. At that point, I was like, please shoot me. I absolutely despise Aliyah. She is the worst women's wrestler currently employed in that company, aside from Dana Brooke. Watching her backstage promo was utter sleep-inducing. She can't speak on the mic. She read her lines at one point in the past. She's not good in the ring. And I honestly don't know why they're investing time in her. Now, I get it. They want to invest in new stars, but really? You fire or you let go Toni Storm, Ember Moon, and all of those women, Ruby Riott. You let all of those go and you want to push Aliyah? Seriously? I don't know. All I know is that in the next round of cuts, no, I don't want to see Aliyah fired because, I don't want to see anybody fired. But if I had to predict, I'd say she'd be in the next round of cuts, which sucks for her, but I can see it happening. But I just really don't like Aliyah. She brings no value to a television show. Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville backstage, and now they're saying it's hot in the room, so they're checking the thermostat. And at this point, I was like, they're mentioning the temperature in the room a lot. So at this point, I was like, are we seeing something like important happening? And then later they proved that wrong. Lita returning to SmackDown after 20 years of being gone. Now, guys, don't get me wrong, I love Lita. She's probably my second favorite women's wrestler of all time. And she's in my top 15 of all time for everybody. Lita's great, but here's the thing. Like the thumbnail says, I have to ask, why are we seeing this? Now, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in Charlotte, I looked at my phone and saw that Lita was going to be on the show. And my first thought was, great, we're getting a Lita and Charlotte segment, and we're going to set something up. And I was right. We'll cover the segment first, and then I'll give my thoughts. Lita return. Michael Cole in the ring. I almost said Adam Cole. We'll save him for later. The real wrestling show we'll save Adam Cole for. Michael Cole in the ring. He introduces Lita. She says she has chills from the WWE Universe chanting her name. Cole says the WWE superstars talk about Lita inspiring them. So why is she coming back for the Rumble? She says it's been a wild ride and she has more career highlights than she can count. She says most days she would say that she is satisfied until recently. She says when she was around, we didn't have a Rumble match, and now we do. And she says she has one run left in her. Now here's the thing. Wasn't Lita in the first ever Women's Rumble? It sounds like I remember Lita being in the first ever Women's Rumble. Now, guys, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'll probably get somebody telling me I'm wrong if that's the case. But I remember Lita being in that Rumble. She says she will enter the Women's Royal Rumble, run through the other women, and win to main event WrestleMania. Charlotte interrupts her, of course. I already knew this was happening. Charlotte says she will interview Lita, so Michael Cole needs to get out. She says she didn't know it was Flashback Friday. She says this is extreme. She says she is entering the Rumble as champ, and when she wins, she gets to pick her opponent. So, I think the threat of Charlotte winning is even more now. Although I doubt they do that because who is she going to pick? She says when she eliminates Lita, her run will be over. And Charlotte asks how she's going to handle the humiliation when she ends Lita's dream. Lita says she heard about this version of Charlotte and calls her a Tanya Harding wannabe, I guess. She says she's curious as to how she's going to throw anybody over the top rope because she has a big head. Ah, yes. WWE legend Lita talking about the size of Charlotte Flair's head. Whoever wrote this needs to be shot. Figure of speech, guys. Charlotte mentions how she beat Trish at SummerSlam 2019 and says she broke her. She says she was so broken that she actually retired, and at the Rumble pay-per-view, Charlotte called it a pay-per-view, not a premium live event. She will do that to Lita. Lita goes to slap Charlotte, but just embarrasses her because Charlotte covers up, and then she hits a twist of fate, which Charlotte landed like a stiff 90-year-old woman. That was the worst sell of a wrestling move I've ever seen in my entire life. That was absolutely abhorrent. Anyway, I have to ask, guys, why did Lita have to be on the show? Now, like I said, I love Lita. But what was the point of her being on the show? What did this do? All it did to me was kind of show me that WWE might have Lita win the Women's Royal Rumble. Which now I hope doesn't happen because they needed to use it to build somebody new and not a aging legend who's only going to be here for 4 months. But I don't know. I want to hear what you guys think. And normally I'd go to Brandon here, but Brandon's not here. But I've talked to him, and his initial reaction was, is Lita winning the Rumble? And I had that same question because they really made her seem like that is a possibility. But I don't know, guys. I surely hope not. And honestly, if they do have her win the Women's Royal Rumble, it doesn't benefit anything because that title is staying on Charlotte. I don't think they'd put the title on Lita. I really don't. They might surprise me, and if she does win, and they might do it. But I highly doubt that they do. I honestly don't really think Lita's winning. I think Naomi should win the Women's Royal Rumble. And I think she will as well. Sheamus backstage. He says that Rich Holland should be beside him, but instead he's sitting at home taking notes because of Ricochet. He says it's okay because he's about to make everything right, and we'll see how Ricochet likes it when he leaves with a broken nose. Up next, we get Ricochet versus Sheamus. Ricochet comes out with a new theme that absolutely sucks. Sheamus throws him around and goes to the technical game. Ricochet locks in a hold and Sheamus fights up. He beats down Ricochet and stomps him. He goes for a powerbomb, but Rico counters. Sends him over the top. He hits a kick on the apron and hits a dive over the top rope. Sheamus sends him back first onto the apron and sends him throat first into the steel on the ring, like the steel girder on the bottom of the ring. Go to commercial break. Sheamus works over Ricochet, but Ricochet fights back up and hits a crossbody off the ropes, followed by some strikes. Sheamus misses a bro kick and is sent to the apron. He runs right into a right hand, and Ricochet hits a moonsault to the back of Sheamus' head for 2. Ricochet misses big air offense, and Sheamus hits an Irish curse. Sheamus hits the 10 beats of the Bodhrán and heads up top. He heads to the apron. He clotheslines Ricochet back in the ring and gets him up. Then heads up top with Ricochet on his shoulders, but he fights out. Ricochet hits a couple of kicks to the face and slams his face against the ring post. He hits a sunset flip powerbomb over the ropes and gets a 2 count. He tries to get Sheamus up top, and he flips out of a move, rolling him up for 2. He goes for offense and runs right into a bro kick for the 3 count. Guys, this was a fantastic match. We talked about it last week. I think it was on Breaking the Wall about the whole mid-card in the company on Smackdown. All things considered, you have some pretty good names in that mid-card. You have Sheamus, you have Ricochet, you have Shinsuke Nakamura, you have Sami Zayn. You have Kofi Kingston. You have those 5 guys, and then you have guys like, you could use Angel and Humberto in that mid-card, but I prefer them in the tag right now. So you have 5, 6 decent guys in that mid-card, and honestly, I don't know why they're not using them. It just shows you how depleted SmackDown's roster is. Using these guys like this every week could be something that brings your whole brand to another level. Like, I really don't know why they don't invest in their mid-card. Shinsuke Nakamura has not defended that title in 4 months because of a hand injury. Then why didn't he drop the title? And then you can have matches in that mid-card which actually are not bad. Ricochet and Sheamus going at it is something I love to see. You have Ali in that mid-card. He's not on TV. He's probably about to be cut. Unfortunately. I think the right decision here is to put the title on Sami Zayn and let him just run through people in the mid... Well, not run through, but have good matches with people in the mid-card. I think a perfect WrestleMania match would be Ricochet, Sheamus, and Sami Zayn in a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. That'd be perfect. You can have your hard-hitting, high-flying mix on a night 1 or night 2 in that middle of the show when people start to kind of like anticipate the main event and kind of tune out. You can have something like that in the middle of that show and keep the anticipation going throughout the show. If they put everything together in a way in a way that everything makes sense. If you present WrestleMania in a way that flows, in a way that makes sense, the card placement, you have a hot match to kick off. You kind of have a cool down, then you go back into some more hot matches. You have your women's title match, which needs to serve a purpose, and then you can go into your co-main and then your main event. 2 nights of WrestleMania. That really helps the show flow and it gets fans invested. And I think a triple threat match between those 3 is perfect. And then that's a perfect place for Sami Zayn to drop the title. His reign will have done his purpose at that point. And then maybe you can have, I don't know, maybe just start doing something with Ricochet. Have him pin Sami Zayn. And then you can go into a singles feud with Sheamus throughout the summer. And then you can end it at SummerSlam with Sheamus getting the win. Or you can do it the other way around. You can have Sheamus pin Sami Zayn. And then you go back to tonight. Sheamus or Ricochet hasn't beat Sheamus, I don't think. And you have them keep going throughout. And then you culminate it at SummerSlam with Ricochet winning. It's really not hard to book your mid-card in an interesting way, and I don't know why they haven't booked it that way. Anyway, Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville backstage. They run through the Royal Rumble rules like we don't already know, like it hasn't been 30 years of the Royal Rumble at our disposal to go watch. Thanks, guys. And they complain about the heat again. Pearce goes to check the maintenance department with and Sonya takes her jacket off. So this is where it kind of culminated. We had been wondering what they were going to do with like the temperature throughout the entire night, and it finally ended when Sonya took her jacket off. And as soon as Sonya took her jacket off, I knew it was coming next. Naomi walks in and says she sees Sonya doesn't have her jacket on. Pearce walks in and separates them, and Naomi says all Sonya does is abuse her power, and she would have beat Charlotte if it weren't for Sonya. So we didn't even get a pull apart brawl with these guys or these girls, and Sonya didn't have her jacket on. What are you waiting for? Pearce says Naomi does deserve another shot at Charlotte, and they announce the match for next week. There's 2 things I'm interested to see next week. One, if Sonya's going to screw over Naomi again, and if she does, Naomi is definitely winning the Rumble. And 2, if we see Lita get involved with Charlotte, and if that does happen, are we going to see Lita winning the Rumble? Because that tells us that's a feud they want to go to. Or, Lita doesn't have to win the Rumble. What if a Raw superstar wins the Rumble and they go with Charlotte and Lita at WrestleMania? I don't know. I really don't want Lita in a match at WrestleMania for a title. Kofi Kingston versus Madcap Moss. This was half decent. I'm not mad at this. Kofi reads off a message from Woods. It says that Woods has fallen victim to an injury, and as a result, he will miss the Royal Rumble. However, he says the Kingdom needs representation and decrees that Kofi Kingston will enter the Royal Rumble. Baron Corbin says he is happy because he made a lot of money on NFTs, and the only thing that could make him happier would be to eliminate Kofi from the Rumble. He says he hasn't been this happy since they destroyed Drew's neck. And Madcap Moss makes another terrible joke that I kept a straight face throughout the joke. Kofi sends Moss over the top rope and hits a dive onto both men outside. We go to commercial break. Out of the break, Moss works over Kofi and Kofi fights back. Moss catches a crossbody and hits a fallaway slam. Moss beats him down in the corner. Kofi hits a kick and fires up. Moss rolls him up, but Kofi rolls through and hits a kick. He follows it up with a boom drop and Corbin distracts him. He misses the Trouble in Paradise and hits a kick in the corner. Moss rolls through another crossbody and blocks an SOS to hit the punchline for the win. Half decent match. Nothing to be mad about, but it does kind of suck that Kofi Kingston is losing clean to Madcap Moss. Charlotte Flair and Naomi in a championship contenders match is announced for next week. I already ran over the 2 things I'm looking. Well, I don't want to say looking forward to, but kind of interested to see how they do it. And then we get our main event for the evening. We get our Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns face to face. Reigns says before Seth speaks, Omaha needs to acknowledge him. Seth says this is quite a moment, and he was thinking that for old time's sake they need to do the Shield fist bump. Roman says it's beneath him now, and he doesn't do it. Seth says to acknowledge how... Alright, Seth says... Roman needs to acknowledge... Or they need to acknowledge how Roman looked when he showed up last week. He says it seems like he is the last person Roman wanted to see. He says their track record in title matches are one-sided because Seth is undefeated. Roman laughs because he's talking about the past, and Roman says he's in God mode now. He says he's the provider and the greatest of this generation. He says he's the greatest Universal Champion of all time, which makes him the greatest to do this. Seth says he came to acknowledge all of Roman's accomplishments, but he has a question. He asks if Roman can look in the mirror and say he did it all himself. Seth says he was climbing the ladder and holding his hand in the shield, and when he sent him packing, he couldn't make it on his own. He asks if he understands who the greatest is. He says don't forget that he created Roman and he can destroy him as well. Roman says he's a waste of his time. He says he looks like a clown, looks and sounds like a clown because he is one. He says he doesn't have the star power that Reigns does. He says if he was looking for a megastar, he wouldn't have chose him from Raw or his own household. He says if he wanted to main event the Rumble, he would have chosen Seth's wife. A Becky Lynch chant breaks out. I couldn't tell if that was piped in or real. The Usos try to jump Rollins, but Rollins escapes. He sends Jimmy into the stairs and Jay over the table. They try to attack him again, and he escapes the ring as the show comes to a close. This was a good segment. It was a little bit too short. I'm pretty sure it was like only 7 minutes. It was short. It was sweet. It did its purpose. But as I said in the beginning of the show, what did Seth do to earn this? Really nothing. Now I get it. He got screwed out of his one-on-one opportunity, so you can say that's the reason, and that suffices with me, I guess. I don't know, but this match should be very good, actually, and I'm excited to see where they go with it. However, the only problem is, there has to be no way Seth wins this. We've heard the reports coming out about Seth Rollins beating Roman Reigns and then doing the title switch. I hope that doesn't happen. I will be very unhappy. There's no reason to do it. And honestly, I think they just need to keep Roman's title reign going. He's the best thing in the company. Like he said, he's in God mode. There's no reason to change that. I don't know if they recognize that or not, but they need to. But that was Smackdown, guys. We'll get into Rampage in just a moment. Overall, Smackdown, this was a terrible show. There was one or two things that I liked on the show. The Sheamus and Ricochet match and the last segment. The in-ring work was decent here, but it was nothing I cared about, really, and the show was not good overall. It had a lot of missing pieces, and it really shows that SmackDown went from the better show to the terrible show, just like Monday Night Raw, in a matter of 3 months. But hopefully they can do something next week, because if they do this again next week, what they did tonight, they're not going anywhere. Rampage. Like I said in the beginning of the show, Rampage was another good wrestling week. This is actually one of their better shows, in my opinion. I know Rampage is nothing to get excited over, but you're getting an hour of professional wrestling, just straight professional wrestling with a few segments. I don't know why people complain. We got Adam Cole versus Trent Beretta kicking off. Cole misses a pump kick to start the match, and Trent hits chops and elbows. They trade strikes, and Trent hits a suplex. He sends Cole to the outside, and Cole sweeps the legs of Trent, sending him back first onto the apron. Cole goes to work on Trent with a neck breaker. He goes to work in the corner and whips Trent across the ring. Cole hits another neck breaker for one. Trent fights back up, and Cole gets a pump kick. He goes for the Panama Sunrise on the floor, but Cole gets a body drop. Cole sends Trent flying headfirst into the barricade. We go to commercial break. We come back. Trent fights back in the match and stuns Cole. Cole misses a kick, and Trent hits a deadlift German suplex. He hits an elbow in the corner and a swinging DDT for two. Cole hits a kick and goes for the Panama Sunrise, but Trent blocks. Trent follows him and hits an avalanche brainbuster for two. Trent goes for offense, but Cole hits a backstabber and fires up the band like Shawn Michaels. Trent hits a half-and-half suplex. Cole gets a brainbuster for two, and both men head out onto the apron. Trent hits a pile driver on the apron. He throws Cole in the ring and goes for strong zero, but instead Cole hits a sunset flip powerbomb for two. Cole goes for the Panama Sunrise, but Trent hits a Saito suplex and a right arm lariat. Cole hits a suplex and follows it with a Panama Sunrise, but Trent counters. Well, he didn't hit the Panama Sunrise. Trent countered it and hit a strong zero for two. A brawl breaks out on the outside, and Britt fights Statlander up the ramp. Inside the ring, Cole gets a low blow, which we actually didn't see because I think they botched the camera angle. But he hit the boom and got the 3 count. Very, very... Actually, I'm going to say it is a fantastic match to kick off the show. Trent Beretta and Adam Cole are 2 of the best. They are 2 very good wrestlers. And honestly, I'm enjoying seeing all these best friends and elite guys mix it up. I don't know why anybody wants to complain about this because it is a very, very good showcase. And like I said on the Thursday review for Dynamite with Brandon, we could be seeing a situation where at Beach Break, Johnny Gargano's debut happens, and we get him working with the best friends for a little bit. And we set up a 5-on-5, like elimination. I could see blood and guts. I could see a street fight. I could see a stadium stampede. Although I think that's less likely to happen because now we have live fans. But I could definitely see any of those happening. But all in all, this was a very good opening match. It builds excitement for that mixed tag on Wednesday, which had served its purpose. Thunder Rosa and Mercedes Martinez have a backstage video package. Rosa says Mercedes costed her a match, and both women talk about the next time they see each other. Both women said the next time they see each other, it'll be in a match. A Rosa Martinez match is something I'm actually looking forward to. I think this needs to be the last thing Rosa does before she gets involved with Britt. We're about 6 weeks away from Revolution. The time is running out for them to finally show me that Rosa's getting the match. So I think Britt needs to finish with Statlander in this mixed tag. She can do something else, and whenever they do this Mercedes and Rosa match, they need to end that, and then we need to get a Britt and Rosa match. Shawn Spears versus Andrew Everett. Wardlow reluctantly comes out with Spears. Spears taunts Everett, and Everett looks for a springboard move, but Spears catches him and hits a C4 for the win. 55 seconds. Spears, after the match, asks Punk if he really is the best in the world. He says he traveled the same roads and shed the same amount of blood as Punk. He says he wasn't supposed to make it. He says MJF sent him to make a statement. He says he doesn't know what a line is until he crosses it. He says there's a reason that the people call him a chairman. He says one swing and Punk will remember it forever. He says he won't be in there with he won't be in the ring with a one-move wonder. So that was a shot to Wardlow. He will be in there with a 20-year veteran who's pound for pound one of the best. He says he will expose Punk and that the chairman will cometh. So, this promo was good. Now, I get it. I like Shawn Spears, but I'm not the biggest, Shawn Spears mark, like I've seen some people. But honestly, I have to say, this promo right here actually was very, very good. And I respect Shawn Spears for the fact that he may not be doing much, but whatever he does, he puts his heart and soul into it. And honestly, I think the Punk and Spears match is going to go crazy. Another thing I want to cover here. They were really laying it heavy on Wardlow recently. And I think the Wardlow turn is happening sooner rather than later. And they're going to Cleveland soon. Now, I think Cleveland is a little bit too soon, but I would not be surprised if Wardlow turns on MJF and Shawn Spears in 2 weeks at the Cleveland Beach Break show. But I'm a big Wardlow guy. I think that him turning might actually be very beneficial down the road. However, I think they need to pick the right time to do it, and I don't know if this is the right time. We get a 6-woman tag team match. I didn't take notes on this. I had something going on during it. But I did take a little side note. Layla Hirsch and Chris Statlander shows some friction in the match. The friction between them caused them to match as Bunny took her down the rabbit hole for the win. Honestly, I don't know. First of all, I'm glad Statlander stayed protected. And I honestly don't know what I think of a Layla Hirsch heel turn. There's honestly nothing I really have to go off that I care about with her. And I don't know if a heel turn is going to fix that. The friction, I think, will go on for a little bit longer, and then we'll finally get the turn. All I hope is that we don't see Layla Hirsch costing Chris Statlander the match on Wednesday, because we know Chris Statlander is taking the pin in the sense that they're not going to have Orange Cassidy pinned. Again, Britt's not losing, Cole's not losing. So I think Statlander just gets the short end of the stick here. And we continue on with life. Man of the Year, congratulate Sammy Guevara and talk about Cody. Ethan Page says the reason Cody isn't here because he stepped in the ring with him. Sky says once Cody and Sammy figure out their problems, he will prove that he is the face of TNT. I actually thought we'd get this done before then, or that they'd drop it. It doesn't look like they are. And me and Brandon talked about them doing a potential Sammy and Cody match at Revolution, but after this, I don't think they are anymore. I think they're actually going to do Scorpio Sky and Cody Rhodes at Revolution, or something like that. Because Cody technically is still a face. They haven't turned him heel yet, and Scorpio Sky's a heel, so they could do that. And he's already been in the ring with Ethan Page. And I don't think Scorpio Sky wants to wait 6 weeks for them to get it done at Revolution. So, that's just my point of view. I might be completely wrong, but we don't know. Ricky Starks on commentary calls out Jay Lethal. He says he wants answers. Jay Lethal comes out and says Starks has been talking a lot about him. He says he knows he's the new guy, but for 2 months he's been watching what has happened with Team Taz, and it makes him sick. He says ever since he became FTW champion, there hasn't been a long line of people challenging him because he cares less about wrestling and more about his wardrobe. He says the title isn't even recognized, and it means more to Ricky Starks, than the company does, which is why Jay Lethal wants it. He issues a challenge and says he knows he won't get an answer because he has to run it by Taz. The refs pull them apart, and what I thought was funny, Taz is just over there screaming on commentary. I'm down for this match. They're two of the best in the company, and I think a match between these two would actually be very beneficial for both of these guys. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people are going to say, oh, well, why does Jay Lethal want the title? It's not recognized. And I'm glad they clarified that. Jay Lethal said, I want it because it means a lot to you. Jay Lethal's hatred for Ricky Starks goes as far to say that he wants that title because it means a lot to Ricky Starks. And I really like that line because it shows that Jay Lethal just doesn't like Ricky Starks, and he wants that title because Ricky loves it. And he's willing to take away that peace and happiness from Ricky Starks if it means taking him down. And it's not even really about the title, which that was a very good line that Jay Lethal threw in there. Oh boy, Varsity Blondes versus the House of Black this week on Dynamite. That was announced on last night's show. Yes, please. I'm looking forward to that match so much. Brody King and Malachi Black are a fantastic tag team. So are the Varsity Blondes. Them being in the ring together is music. I don't know. Music to my eyes doesn't make sense, but it's a sight that I'm loving. I really think I'm going to love that on Wednesday, and I think everybody else is too. And then we get our main event. It's the Jurassic Express versus the Dark Order for the AEW World Tag Team titles. This match is fantastic. I really liked it. I think the ending was botched, but it was a fantastic match. Jungle Boy and Reynolds start. They go to the technical wrestling game. Jungle Boy hits a dropkick and tags in Luchasaurus, who hits a big chop. He throws Reynolds around and hits a clothesline into the corner. Jungle Boy enters the match, and Luchasaurus hits a slam, followed by a senton from Jungle Boy. Reynolds gets a backslide for 2, escapes from Jungle Boy and tags in Silver, who goes in hot tag offense. He hits a boot to Jungle Boy and a body drop. Silver hits an enziguri and taunts Christian Cage on the outside. Silver catches a Jungle Boy dive and gets him in suplex position. Reynolds dives through the ropes, basically suplexing, suicide dive combo into the barricade. We go to commercial break. Out of the break, Luchasaurus tags in and goes on hot tag offense. He hits a boot to Reynolds and splashes in each corner to both men. He takes out both men with a clothesline but goes for the choke slam on Silver, but Reynolds counters. And Luchasaurus hits a big combo offense for 2. I think it was a choke slam leg sweep combo. I missed what he did to Reynolds, but I know he choke slammed Silver. He gets a 2 on Reynolds. Jungle Boy tags in and Silver's counters double team offense with a rolling elbow. He sends Luchasaurus to the outside and tags in Reynolds. Jungle Boy plays possum and counters. He hits a German suplex on Silver and looks for a superplex, but all four men combine for a powerbomb superplex combo. Silver and Jungle Boy trade cakes. Reynolds hits a knee and a thrust kick enziguri from Silver. It was a combo. Luchasaurus falls to the floor and they hit an enziguri stunner German suplex combo into a jackknife for 2. Jungle Boy hits a lariat to Reynolds and a Hurricane Rana off the top, sending Silver into Evil Uno. Destroyer by Jungle Boy for 2 off of a Luchasaurus offensive maneuver that I missed. Jungle Boy tags in Luchasaurus and boots Silver off of the apron. They hit sloppy-looking double-team offense, and Jungle Boy hits a suicide dive on Silver through the ropes as Luchasaurus gets a 3 count. And as I said, it looked very sloppy. I'm pretty sure it was botched. So, although the ending was botched, the tag team match was very good. It was an elite tag team match in our main event, and it capped off what I thought actually was a very entertaining episode of Rampage. Rampage is a good extension off of Dynamite. It's like a third hour to Dynamite on a different night, and I really like how they incorporate storylines. And last night we got a very good show of professional wrestling. It was the real wrestling show last night because SmackDown was not good. But guys, they need to change things on SmackDown. Keep going strong on Rampage with the good wrestling and the story. Or I don't want to call it storyline progression because they don't do a lot of storyline progression. But keep it going with the good wrestling and little entertaining segments that they have. It puts together a very good show. That's all I got for you guys. We'll be back tomorrow with Breaking the Wall. Make sure to like and comment on the video. Question of the day is, who do you think is winning the Women's Royal Rumble? That's what I got for you guys. Make sure to subscribe as well as turn on post notifications so you never miss when we upload a podcast. Follow us on Instagram at Fourth Wall Wrestling Podcast. I don't have the benefit of pointing to it in the corner today, but it's down in the description. Follow us on Twitter as well at 4wall_wrestling. Make sure to check out all the content on the channel this week. We got a Raw review, a AEW Dynamite review. This review is going up today, so make sure to check it out. And like I said, we will be back with the is it 4 or 5? I believe it's 5. Episode 5 of Breaking the Wall. Actually, let me check that for us. But all in all, whatever number it is, we'll be back with it tomorrow. And just be looking forward to that. Yeah, it's episode 5, so be looking forward to that. Brandon will be back. But guys, thank you for joining me today. It's always great to hop on and do a podcast. I'm going to go watch some hockey now. Some playoff NFL football today. You guys enjoy your day. And I will see you guys tomorrow back with Brandon for Breaking the Wall episode 5. Have a good one, guys. Peace.